They didn't see a mastermind when they shoved him against the cold prison wall. They didn't see a man who could turn humiliation into strategy, pain into patience, and silence into a weapon. To them, he was just another clown in an orange jumpsuit, laughed at, spat on, treated like trash by men who believed strength lived only in fists. What they didn't understand was that the Joker never fights back immediately. He waits, and when he finally smiles, someone always pays a price far greater than the insult. The first night in the cell taught the Joker an important lesson. Cruelty had its own rhythm. It wasn't loud at first. It crept in quietly, disguised as jokes, shoulder bumps, stolen food trays, whispers meant to sting just enough to remind him of his place. The other inmates laughed at his scars, mocked the way he spoke to himself under his breath, mimicked his smile until it lost all humor. They called him clown, not knowing the word had once meant king. The Joker didn't respond. Not with anger, not with fear. He sat on his bunk every night, hands folded, eyes half-lidded, listening. He learned the sounds of the prison like a language. The cough that meant weakness, the laugh that meant insecurity, the footsteps that meant power was shifting. He learned who bullied to hide their terror and who followed because they were too empty to lead. Most of all, he learned who thought they were untouchable. One man stood above the rest. Big shoulders, quiet voice, a scar across his jaw that looked earned. The others deferred to him without question. When he spoke, meals changed hands. When he stared, fights ended. And when he decided the Joker was entertainment, the whole block followed. It was he who ordered the Joker's mattress taken. He who smiled when the Joker slept on cold concrete. He who leaned in one night and whispered, "You don't belong here, but you're staying." The Joker smiled back. It wasn't defiance, it wasn't courage. It was something far more dangerous. Understanding. Days passed, then weeks. The Joker endured it all. The shoves, the insults, the deliberate attempts to break him. He let them believe the story they wanted, that he was fragile, unstable, barely holding together. He laughed at the wrong moments. He flinched when they expected strength. He became invisible in plain sight. But invisibility is a powerful thing. When fights broke out, the Joker was always nearby, not participating, not intervening, just observing. When arguments erupted, he listened to every word, every accusation, every secret spoken too loudly in anger. He offered nothing but small comments here and there, innocent remarks, observations disguised as jokes, seeds planted gently, carefully, where suspicion would grow. "Funny how loyalty works in here," he said one evening, staring at the wall. "People think it's solid, until hunger changes the shape of a man." The big man scoffed, but one of his closest allies looked away. That was when the Joker knew the cracks had formed. The prison began to change, though no one could explain how. Favors were delayed, promises were broken, small misunderstandings turned violent. A whispered accusation became a full-blown feud. The Joker remained untouched, still mocked, still ignored, still underestimated, while chaos bloomed around him like a slow infection. One night, the Joker was dragged into the showers. The steam was thick, the floor slick with water. The big man stood before him, expression unreadable. "You've been talking," he said. The Joker tilted his head. "I've been listening." A fist struck his ribs, hard. The Joker gasped but didn't cry out. Blood filled his mouth, metallic and warm. He laughed through it, a sound that echoed too loudly against tile. "You hit like a man who's already lost," he said softly. That was the moment something shifted in the big man's eyes. Not anger, fear, because fear recognizes itself. The beating stopped after that, not out of mercy, but caution. The Joker became something worse than weak. He became unpredictable. Men avoided sitting too close to him. Conversations died when he approached. The block felt tense, coiled, waiting for something it couldn't name. Then came the night the lights went out. It was brief, a power flicker, seconds at most. But in those seconds, screams cut through the darkness. When the lights returned, 2 men lay injured, one badly. No one saw what happened. No one admitted anything. The Joker was found sitting on his bunk, humming softly, hands clean, eyes bright. The big man stared at him from across the block. The Joker met his gaze and mouthed 2 silent words. Not yet. By morning, the prison felt different, not chaotic, ordered. quiet, like the calm before a carefully planned storm. The Joker lay back on his bunk, bruised and bleeding, smiling to himself, because the men who treated him like trash were finally afraid. And fear, the Joker knew, was the first step toward obedience. But revenge wasn't finished with fear alone, not even close. Fear didn't announce itself loudly. It settled into the prison like damp air, clinging to skin, making every breath heavier than the last. Men who once laughed now whispered. Men who once followed now questioned. And at the center of it all sat the Joker, bruised, quiet, smiling at nothing, treated no longer like trash, but like a problem no one knew how to solve. The big man felt it most. Power had always been simple to him. You took it with force. You kept it with reputation. But now his reputation was rotting from the inside. His closest allies avoided his eyes. His orders were obeyed slowly, reluctantly, as if weighed against some unspoken alternative. Every night, he replayed conversations in his head, wondering which words had turned against him. He cornered the Joker one evening near the cells, voice low, controlled. "What do you want?" The Joker looked genuinely surprised. "Want?" He chuckled softly. "I already have it." The big man's jaw tightened. "You think you're running things?" The Joker leaned closer, lowering his voice. "No, I think you are." That night, a fight broke out between two men who had been inseparable for years. No clear reason. Just a look, a word remembered differently by each of them. Fists flew, blood followed. The guards intervened too late to prevent damage, but early enough to miss the cause. The Joker watched from a distance, eyes unreadable. He had learned long ago that revenge didn't require violence from the avenger. It required patience. It required letting people destroy themselves while believing it was their own choice. As days passed, the big man found himself isolated. Meals went untouched. Conversations ended when he approached. His authority evaporated, not in one dramatic moment, but in dozens of small humiliations. He searched for the Joker, needing confrontation, needing clarity. But the Joker offered neither. Instead, one night, the Joker sat beside him without invitation. "Do you know why they stopped fearing you?" the Joker asked casually. The big man said nothing. "Because fear based on strength disappears the moment strength looks uncertain," the Joker continued. "But fear based on confusion? That lasts forever." The big man finally turned, rage flickering beneath exhaustion. "You ruined me." The Joker smiled sadly. "No, I removed the lie, holding you together." Something in that answer broke the big man more than fists ever could. The next morning, the prison woke to a new hierarchy, not led by one man, but fractured into careful alliances, fragile truces, silent understandings. No one openly followed the Joker. That was the brilliance of it. He didn't rule. He influenced. He didn't command. He suggested. His words traveled faster than threats. His silences louder than orders. And yet, he remained what he had always appeared to be, a beaten clown, dismissed by those who still believed power needed a face. Until the final night. The big man approached the Joker's cell long after lights out. His posture was different now, smaller, heavy with regret. "I know what you did," he said quietly. The Joker looked up from the shadows. "Knowing is not the same as understanding." "You could have destroyed us," the big man said. "Why stop here?" The Joker stood slowly, wincing, his smile gone. "Because destruction isn't justice. It's just noise." The big man frowned. "Then what is this?" "This," the Joker said softly, "is balance." The big man laughed bitterly. "You think you're a hero?" The Joker stepped closer, eyes dark, reflective. "No, heroes save systems. I punish them." There was a pause, a long one. Then the big man whispered, "You planned this the moment we touched you." The Joker nodded. "The moment you showed me who you were." By morning, the big man was gone, transferred, removed, erased from the story without ceremony. No explanation was given. None was needed. The prison returned to its routine, but something fundamental had shifted. The cruelty was quieter now, more careful, as if the walls themselves had learned restraint. The Joker sat alone on his bunk, staring at his reflection in the metal surface of the cell. His smile returned, not wide, not manic, but thoughtful. He hadn't escaped the prison. He had reshaped it. As guards walked past, one muttered under his breath, "Monster." The Joker laughed quietly, because monsters, he knew, were born when injustice believed it would never be answered. And somewhere beyond those walls, a world just like this one waited, full of men who mistook cruelty for power and silence for weakness. The Joker closed his eyes. He was patient. After all, trash, when ignored long enough, has a way of poisoning everything. Some men break when they're treated like nothing. Others learn how to turn nothing into power.